here. So a few months ago, I created a video called the AFC's Top 10 Exercises or Dynamic Movements to Do Every Day. I had consulted with your AFC team and we put together the 10 most important moves we thought that you should do every day. It has recently come to my attention by one of our residents here at Hillcrest that they wanted more AFC Top 10 stretches or exercises. So I'm here to present to you AFC's Top 10 Stretches or Dynamic Movements Round 2. So this can be done seated. You don't need any tools or anything for it. You're just going to need your body. And I'm going to need you to take off your shoes and socks if you can, because at the very end, it'll be necessary and you'll see why then. So let's go ahead and we're gonna take a seat if you're not already seated. And you're gonna come to the front edge of your chair. We're gonna put some hands on top of your thighs, sitting up nice and tall. And our first movement, dynamic movement that we're going to do is called the yes stretch. So all that means is that we're gonna nod our heads yes. So I want you to notice that when I nod my head yes, I'm gonna turn to the side so you can see it. I'm nodding from behind my ear. So often when I see people nod yes, they have a tendency to bend the whole neck. I don't want you to do that. That's really bad for you. Just nod from the back of your ear. Good. So we're gonna nod yes for a little bit longer. I'll hold each stretch or we'll perform each dynamic movement for about a minute. But if you want to do something longer or maybe it's too intense and you want to cut it off sooner, feel free to do so. These are your exercises and this is your time to do what you'd like. I'm just your friendly guide and suggestion. A few more seconds here. Keep nodding your head yes, taking your time. These are stretches and dynamic movements, so they don't need to be performed quickly. Let's go for 3, 2, and 1. Bring your head back to center. From here, again, make sure you're sitting up tall, shoulders are down and back. We're going to turn our head side to side as if to say no. So this will be an exaggerated no. So you look over your right shoulder, and then you look over your left shoulder. Now normally we don't nod or we don't turn our head this far when we say no, but we're going to for this exercise, just because I really want you to feel that stretch in your neck. And we'll make our way down through our body, because that's kind of the theme for my top 10 stretches and dynamic movements, is to move through your body from top to bottom. A little bit longer here. Make sure your chin is parallel with the floor at all times. Don't let it drop. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to center. All right, next we're going to move to a movement here. It'll be a dynamic movement, and this is good for the shoulders, the forearms, the wrists. So we're really going to be focusing on that upper body here. So you're going to first take your hands out in front of you, shoulder height. Then I want you to interlock your fingers together. And now this is where the forearms and the wrist come in. I want you to turn your palms out away from you. So we're flexing those wrists. You get stretch through the forearms. From here, you're going to reach your arms up overhead as high as you can. This is for those shoulders, a little bit your upper back. And then you're going to release back down by your sides. And we're going to start all over again. So arms out in front, interlock the fingers, turn the wrist out, palms away, lifting up, lower down. Good. You're going to keep that going a little bit longer here. Again, take your time. This is more of a dynamic stretch, so what that means is that we're not holding a stretch, we're moving through it. Dynamic and static stretches both have different benefits. Both are great. Keep it going. Remember, you don't need to look like me when you do this. So if you need to modify, modify. Maybe your arms don't go as high overhead and they drop down a little bit sooner. Or maybe you can't interlock those fingers. Maybe you just reach the arms up and lower them down if the interlocking the fingers doesn't work for you. You know? There's always a way to modify. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice work. All right, next stretch here. This is going to be a static stretch. So we're going to be working on the chest, the shoulders, and the biceps for this one. So I'm going to turn sideways in my chair so I have some space behind me, and you might want to do the same. So maybe turn to the right side of your seat, so both knees are turned to the right. We're going to take our hands behind our back. We're going to interlock our fingers, but this time the palms will come together. So you're going to squeeze those palms together. I want you to roll your shoulders back. And if you feel comfortable, you can begin extending those elbows. If extending the elbows doesn't feel good for you, you can keep those elbows bent and focus on drawing the shoulders down and back. Your main focus here is trying to get that stretch across your chest. You'll feel it in your shoulders. We're also getting a stretch in our biceps here. And even that upper back. So we're going to hold this. And I didn't mention it before, but always make sure you're breathing throughout your stretching. So whether you're holding it or you're moving through a stretch, you want to always come back to focusing on your breath. Because each time that you exhale, the body begins to feel a bit more comfortable in a position. The muscles relax a bit more. And when you start to feel those muscles relaxing, maybe that's a moment for you to get deeper into your stretch. Hold it for 3, 2, and 1. Release those shoulders and elbows. Bring your hands back in front of you. Let's go ahead and turn back to the front of your chair. Next, I want to focus on a tricep stretch. So it's not only good for the triceps, but it's good for the shoulders and the upper back. So we're going to do one arm at a time. We'll sit up nice and tall. I want you to go ahead and start by taking that right arm, reaching it up to the sky, and then you're going to pat yourself on the back with that right hand. So you don't have to keep patting though. You can stop patting. Hands a bit on the upper back. You're going to go ahead and take your left hand now. You can gently press on that tricep to try to get your elbow to point up toward the ceiling. And you notice mine isn't perfect. Mine doesn't point directly up. I have really tight triceps and a really tight upper back. So that's me. Some of you might be really flexible and you might be able to hold on to that elbow and bring that opposite arm over to get a really deep stretch. But for me, this doesn't feel comfortable because I don't have that flexibility. So I do the modified version. So you do whichever one works best for you. I'm going to hold this a little bit longer. Remember to breathe. Try to relax. I know that's hard when you're in a stretch that might not feel the most comfortable. I just go back to focusing on my breath. Try to tell those muscles to relax. Just a little bit longer. Let's hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's slowly relax that arm down. Oh, that feels good. All right, now let's go to the other side. So next we reach that left arm up overhead, and then you're gonna go and pat yourself on the back. Then we'll stop the patting. And then from here, if you'd like to, you can take that right hand, gently press on that left tricep to get a deeper stretch through the tricep, the shoulder, your upper back. And again, for those of you that might be a little bit more flexible, you can always come up and over if you'd like. But again, do what feels best for your body. Let's focus on our breath. Nice. We're going to hold it just a little bit longer. Focus on your breathing. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax that arm down. Very nice. Okay, let's go ahead and we're going to move to your lower back. Now this one's always a fan favorite. It's very simple. You're going to take your arms down by your sides. You're going to take a big inhale through your nose. And then as you exhale, I want you to bring your hands down to your toes. So you're going to let your chest fall into your lap. Let your head hang heavy. Think about lengthening your spine. And this is a great release for your lower back. Focus on your breath here. Inhaling in through your nose, out through your mouth. Feel your back rise and fall with each breath. Few more moments here. All right, on your exhale, let's begin rolling ourselves all the way back up, one vertebra at a time. Make sure that your head is the last thing that comes up. Let's go ahead and move into our lumbar side flexion. So that's going to be for the lower back and also just helps the spine stability. So really great stretch to do. So if you can, I want you to take your right hand behind your ear. There's no pressure or anything, just my fingertips are right behind my ear. If that doesn't feel comfortable for your shoulder, you can always rest the hand on the shoulder. But preferably behind the ear if you can, just because I think you feel the stretch a bit more this way. And then all you're going to do is we're going to lean to the left until you start to feel that stretch on the lower part of your back on that right side. Good. You're just going to hold it here. Make sure that your glutes are glued to your chair, so if you feel yourself lifting, tell your glute to sit back down in the seat. Maybe don't lean over as far. Try to keep your shoulder relaxed. And breathing here. Again, this is really good for that lower back. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back to center and release that hand down. Good. I know that one's kind of tough to keep the arm up there for 40 seconds for a minute. So if you need to break that up into 2 sessions of 30 seconds, that's great too. Do what you need to. Let's go ahead and take the other hand. So now your left hand behind that left ear, right arm's hanging down by your side. And we're just gonna lean over to the right until you start to feel that stretch. Make sure when you're leaning, you don't come forward, right? I don't want your chest to concave. I want your chest to be flat. Imagine you're stuck between 2 walls. You need to be as flat as possible. And I'm just going to continue to hold this here for a few more moments. Make sure your glutes are down in your chair. Focus on your breath. All right, on your exhale, let's go ahead and make our way back to center, and then lower that arm down. Okay, moving to our hips and a little bit of the lower back still. So you're sitting in your chair. I want you to scoot to the front edge of your seat, and then you're gonna lean back in your chair so that your upper back and shoulders are against the seat. Now make sure when you do this, you don't just let your stomach fall in and your spine round. I want you to keep your chest lifted, keep your back flat. From here, we're gonna go ahead and I want you to first extend that right leg out in front of you. Make sure your left leg is stable. This is gonna be our anchor. So I want you to bring that right leg and you're gonna pull your knee into your chest. You can also do this lying down on the floor or in bed in the morning if you'd like. It gives you a deeper stretch if you can do it lying down on the floor or in the bed. But there's still great benefits to doing it in the chair. You're squeezing that knee in toward your chest. You're getting a nice stretch in the hips here, releasing the lower back. I like to hold on to my hamstring. Some people like to hold on to their shin. That's fine too. Just don't put any pressure on your knee. And preferably, if you can, hands on the hamstring as opposed to the shin. Hold it just a little bit longer. Let's hold it for 3, 2, and 1. Lower it down. Let's go ahead and we're going to switch to the other side. So now I want you to go ahead and you're going to bring that left knee in toward your chest. Make sure your right leg is stable. Chest is lifted. We still have that flat back. You didn't let it cave in, did you? Pull that knee in. We're going to continue to hold this. Like I said before, maybe with each exhale you try to see if you can squeeze that knee a little bit closer to the body. Focus on your breath. Just a little bit longer. You're almost done. All right, on your exhale, let's release that foot back down. Okay, let's go ahead and sit up in our chair. Next, we're going to be working on our adductors and inner thigh and even the ankle. So, you're at the front edge of your seat. We're going to keep that left knee bent. I want you to take that right leg out to the side. And I want you to step it out to the side. Notice how, this is where it comes in handy to not have shoes on. Notice how my foot is flat on the floor. I want you to try to get that because this is a really good stretch for the side of your ankle. If your knee is bent, that's fine. If you can straighten that leg out, great. You do what works best for you. Sometimes we get to this over time. We have to work on it though. Like I said, this is a good stretch for that inner thigh and the ankle and your adductors. If you want, you can sit up tall while you do this, or you can use both hands on that stable leg and hinge forward slightly if that gives you a deeper stretch. Sometimes you have to customize your stretch. And customizing it just means you might do a little tweak here or there so that way your body feels the stretch. Sometimes it's as simple as, turning the ankle or turning the toes one way versus another, or leaning one way versus the other a little bit more. You just have to find what works best for your body. Let's continue to hold this. A little bit longer here. And on your exhale, let's go to gently release. So come up tall and then bring that leg in. Let's go ahead and switch to the other side. So now that right leg is going to stay bent and we're going to extend that left leg out to the side. Like I said, if your knee is bent when you do that, that's fine. Just make sure the foot is flat. That's really important. So if you're here, you might be here. Some of you could be out here. It all depends. It also helps if you're towards the end of your chair, so that way you can get the edge of the seat kind of between the groins, so that way it's not hindering your body's natural movement. Again, you can always hinge forward slightly if you'd like by taking both hands on top of that right thigh. That's up to you though. You can always sit up nice and tall instead. Hold this for just a little while longer. If you've made it this far, you may recognize that many of these are all new top 10 stretches. So, and that was done purposefully so that way you could alternate between the 2 days if you'd like. So, maybe Monday you do the first top 10 video that I created, and then maybe on Tuesday you do this video. Just to give you some options. So you're doing the stretches and dynamic movements that are really beneficial for your body throughout the week. Let's hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sitting on up, gently release that hip and thigh, coming back to center. Our last exercise that we're going to go through is curl and spread of the toes. So again, this is where it comes in handy not to have any shoes and socks on. So, and don't worry, I'm not there to see your feet. So if you haven't had a pedicure in a long time, it's perfectly fine. All right, so first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna curl your toes, which means we're gonna curl those toes under like you were, almost like you're making a fist, but for your feet. And then you're gonna release that curl. Spread your toes apart as wide as you can and then place them down on the floor. And then we're gonna repeat. So you're gonna curl, spread, lower the spread. Good. Curl, spread, lower it down. So keep going through this. These are really important exercises to do. We don't realize how many muscles and tendons and nerves and ligaments are inside your feet. So it's really important to try to keep those toes and those feet moving. A lot of great benefits. Good. Keep going here. I know sometimes it feels awkward to do toe exercises, but it's okay. You're in the comfort of your home. Keep it going just a little bit longer here. Sometimes I like to hold each one for a couple seconds before moving to the next part of it. So, like I said, always customize your stretching. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax those feet. All right, everyone, that concludes your AFC top 10 stretches or dynamic movements, round 2, that you should try to do every day. Like I said, pair this with the other top 10 AFC video that we created a few months back, and you have 20 great stretches and dynamic movements that you could do throughout the week to change things up a bit and to keep our body moving so that way life is easy. Thank you all for joining me today. Have a great rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you.